The following is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com. Good morning. It is just 8:15 and time for the Viewpoint program with Bill Gossett. I am not Bill Gossett. Bill is under the weather, as we mentioned on the morning show this morning. So Lloyd Kirby, not taking Bill's place, but filling in for him, keeping the seat warm until he returns to us. And this is Viewpoint. So always, what is it? A collection of personalities, politicians, and perspectives. So today we have not a politician.
Nope.
You do have perspectives, and you are a personality, I think it's fair to say. So with us today is Angie Stoltzenburg. You're throwing names around there, you confuse me. She is with the Lincoln Memorial Hospital Health Collaborative. So, Angie, thank you for joining us on very short notice.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. So, let's get right into it. What exactly is a community health collaborative?
Well, Lincoln Memorial Hospital is actually the Lincoln Memorial Foundation funds a lot of the work that I do, but also Lincoln Memorial Hospital does a lot of work outside the walls of the hospital to improve community health, and that's what the Community Health Collaborative is really all about. It's been around a long time. It used to be called the Healthy Communities Partnership. I think it was 1996 when it all started, and honestly, we were really ahead of our time in Logan County at the hospital to really start recognizing that health is, there's a broad definition of what health is and things that we should be working on as a community in order to be a healthy community. And so it started back with the chamber and the health department and the hospital working together to create this Healthy Communities Partnership and take the mission of the hospital outside the walls. And we continue to do that. So our structure basically is that we have a network of partners, and we help kind of coordinate and facilitate networking among all the partners that are interested in creating a healthy community throughout Logan County and Eastern Mason County. That's our service area. And we get together quarterly and try to leverage our resources, because like any place on the planet, we're all limited to the resources that we have available to us. And so we want to make sure we make the best use of those and share information and share resources. So that's what the network's all about. And like I said, some initiatives are funded directly by the hospital's foundation. And we just work together to create that healthy community.
Okay. And since it is the Lincoln Memorial Hospital Health Collaborative, a lot of people might think it is simply, health care, maybe trauma or illness related, but the Health Collaborative actually gets into a lot of other support services for Lincoln and Logan County, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I think what we recognize are the social determinants of health, and that includes not just access to high quality health care. It also recognizes the socioeconomic status of our community. It recognizes healthy behaviors, choices that individuals do have some control over. It recognizes our physical environment, whether that's having safe sidewalks to walk on, so people are encouraged to walk or bike where they're going, but also the air we breathe, the water we drink, all of that is part of it. We look at our people graduating from high school in our community, because we know that leads to better health outcomes down the road. We really look upstream, is what we like to say in the field. Look upstream to what's kind of the root of issues, and what can we do to create opportunities for people to be as healthy as possible. So, the definition is very broad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you've got a meeting coming up tomorrow, as a matter of fact, of the Health Collaborative. Yep.
So the Community Health Collaborative, it's open to absolutely anybody, anyone who has an interest in health. From, like I said, really, schools are invited, churches are invited, social service agencies, obviously anyone in a clinical health care setting, private individuals. I heard some
guy from a radio station has been there the last couple times.
There's been some, some guy's been showing up. Because all that, we all work together to really, again, that's what it boils down to, giving people an opportunity to be as healthy as possible and live their healthiest life. So everybody's invited to the Community Health Collaborative network meeting. We hold them every quarter, and tomorrow happens to be the one that we're the last one of 2022. So it's at 8:30 tomorrow morning, December 8th at 8:30. It is starting to move around. We have enough people coming that we couldn't really fit in the hospital anymore, and that was one of those silver COVID linings that we all get annoyed talking about because we're sick of it. But the reality is that we had some issues being able to meet inside the hospital. Mm-hmm. And so when we were able to get together again, what we recognized is that there's just too many of us anyway. Right. And so we haven't met at the hospital for a while. We're moving around. And so this month it's at the Oasis Senior Center. Mm-hmm. And so anyone's invited to come tomorrow morning, 8:30. We go from 8:30 to 10. Pretty good stickler on time, so we will not be there longer than 10. But the way that those meetings are set up is that we give some updates on what the collaborative's up to. We have some coalitions, and we can talk about the subjects of those, but we have some coalitions that report out. And then we just have all the partners that show up can give any kind of update. Right. And that takes some time. And I used to be very 8:30 to 9:30. We're done at 9:30, but then it got to the point where I thought, well, everybody has 40 seconds each rush to give their update, and that just wasn't quite enough. So we pushed it to 10. We all decided it was worth it to stay till 10, and that's what we're doing now, 8:30 to 10.
Okay. And as an example, you mentioned that the Health Collaborative isn't just Lincoln Memorial Hospital folks. For example, last week on the 4 p.m. 411 show, we had Bill Dolan and Gwenda Sutton from the Lincoln, I'm going to mess the name up, Salvation Army Lincoln 360 Life Center.
Yes,
and during the course of speaking with them, Bill Dolan mentioned I think he said there are 5 different food pantries in Lincoln or Logan County.
Yeah, there's a few.
So that's an example of a lot of different groups offering very similar services. So the Health Collaborative, for example, will try and get those folks together and make sure, things aren't being duplicated and make sure all areas are being served and things like that. Correct?
Yeah, it's a great place to have those kinds of conversations. Absolutely.
And so there's, like we said, it's not just healthcare. It's, the Salvation Army's there. There are different social service agencies that have been there. Representatives from the high school have been there. So it's a wide variety of folks interested in health and the future health of Lincoln and Logan County. Yeah,
and you never know, there's the Community Health Collaborative network meeting that happens really leads to a lot of those meetings after the meeting. There's a lot of, you just hear what's going on, and you pick up on the things that are relevant to you, and it really helps do what it's supposed to do, which is encourage networking, get people talking.
And so one of the things you mentioned about in looking forward to the health, sidewalks and safe places for folks to walk, which is a nice transition into one of the programs that you have spearheaded there at the hospital with the Trailblazer.
Yeah.
It's easy for me to say. Yeah. Trailblazers program.
Yes.
The walking group.
Yeah.
So.
Actually, you make me think of 2 things, the way you introduced that. The Trailblazers and also our bicycle-friendly business designation that we're working on. So both have a little bit to do with the trail. So the first thing, Trailblazers, like you said, thank you for prompting me to talk about it. That is one of when we do a community health needs assessment every 3 years, we look at all the information in the community, both primary and secondary data. So we're looking at stuff that other people have collected, data, statistics, and then we're also going out to the community and talking to people and doing our own surveys and stuff. And we identify what the priorities are that we should be working on. And one of those things was trying to encourage healthy weights. And one of the ways you can do that is to encourage people to get more physically active. So we have this beautiful wellness trail on the hospital campus. And this year, one of our initiatives was to start this walking program. So it's called the Trailblazers. It's super casual. Everyone's invited to it. Every Wednesday, we walk on the trail at 7 a.m., 9 a.m., noon, and 6. Okay. You walk at your own pace. You can walk by yourself. You can come with somebody. You can meet people up there. The trail does allow dogs. Right. You have to pick up after yourself. And that doesn't, right now there's a little bit of goose. There's some goose droppings on the wellness trail that I promise you are not irresponsible people's dogs. That is we have some friends on the trail that like to hang out sometimes on the sidewalks, unfortunately. But anyway.
Do they get prizes for showing up also?
I haven't given them yet. No, not yet. So the Trailblazers is really just, there's no tracking, there's no registration, there's no signups. It's just really simple, and it's a way to encourage people to get out on the trail at those times. So we encourage folks to come walk at 7, 9, noon, and 6 every Wednesday. And that's the incentive, is that every once in a while we'll show up and just give people free stuff. So you don't want to miss a Wednesday because you never know when we'll be out there. This morning I was out there at 7 o'clock, and believe it or not, in 35-degree weather, we had 2 people out there, even with the cold weather. We've still got some loyal walkers out on that wellness trail. Obviously, numbers were a little bit higher when it was beautiful outside, which was to be expected. But we've had over 600 people at this point. We launched it July 13th. We've had over 600 600 duplicated
Right.
people. Like some people come every week.
Right, like total attendance.
Yeah,
600.
total attendance. I don't even want to say that many laps because some people come and they do a whole bunch of laps. But yeah, over 600 that have come and shown up to our Wednesday walking, and we've given away things like, well, a couple weeks ago I was out there and it was cold and I gave blankets away.
Oh,
Like we
okay.
had some fun fuzzy Memorial Health blankets. We've done some giveaways for gift cards. We've done lip balm, and like I said this morning, I was giving away gloves. So you just never know. And we have themes; they're optional, but sometimes people come and dress up with the theme, and it's just a good excuse to get out on the trail. And you never know if you're going to win something, so that's
Right.
always a fun surprise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, it is Central Illinois, and we are in mid-December, or almost
Yep.
mid-December, so weather is going to turn colder. Will the program continue through those winter months as well?
Yes, we're going 12 months out of the year. However, and next year maybe we'll do this a little earlier, but starting in January, for the months of January, February, and March, we are going to take it inside to the Lincoln Park District.
Okay.
So we've partnered with the Park District, and on Wednesdays, starting in January, if people want to come walk inside at 7, 9, noon, or 6, they can come walk for free inside at the Park District in the field house. And that's sponsored, of course, by Lincoln Memorial Hospital, so that we can have people inside and warm and safe and not worried about ice and snow.
Right. That way you're dealing with health and walking rather than frostbite or falling on the ice or something.
Yes, exactly.
So
Yeah.
once again, our guest today is Angela Stoltzenburg, 217-648-5510, the number to call if you have questions, or if you've been a Trailblazer participant and want to tell us about your experience, or maybe the fun prizes that you picked up while you were out there, feel free to give us a call. So the Park District, it will move to the Park District. It will be at the same times,
Yep.
though. And
Same
then
times.
that program you mentioned it will run for those months at the Park District and then transition back out to the
Back on the trail.
trail in
I mean, there's
April.
nothing better than being out. I think it's good for all of our mental health. First of all, to be physically active, but secondly, to be outside, get some sun. So yeah, we're absolutely going back on that trail in April.
Okay. Something else you mentioned, in addition to the Trailblazers, was about the bicycle-friendly status, or
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact
So
term.
the League of American Cyclists has designations that communities and universities and businesses can apply for, and it's bike friendly. You can become a bike friendly community, a bike friendly business, or a bike friendly campus, or bike friendly university. The whole purpose of that is to encourage people to get outside on their bicycles, obviously, and get from one place to the other by using their own body and energy to do so. So it's just a way to be healthier, to incorporate physical activity into your everyday, and of course there's benefits to the environment as well.
Sure.
To not be getting in a car all the time. So. Again, part of our initiatives to encourage a healthy weight, we decided that we would work toward a bicycle-friendly business designation this past year. And there's an application process, and basically what they want to do as a business, the criteria is that you want to encourage your colleagues, your staff to either cycle to commute, if that's possible, which, we have a little bit of a rough location at the hospital for that. Not that it's impossible, but also to be involved and advocate for local bike paths and trails, give bike education. When I was a kid, we would have bicycle rodeos at the school every year, and it was a really big deal to go into school and bring your bike that day and go through the obstacles and learn the signs of how to, navigate roads when you're on your bike. And so, if you have that kind of base education, and people are comfortable being out there, and there's also a portion of it that you want to educate drivers so they know how to be on the road with cyclists. So there's a lot that can be done to become a little bit more bicycle friendly. And so another thing we've done is made some improvements on the wellness trail for that. And so we've installed a couple bike racks and a bike fix-it station. That's something we did actually downtown Lincoln quite a few years ago, because we've always been trying to advocate for that bicycle friendly community and bike paths. There's actually a bike fix-it station in Latham Park.
Oh, okay.
And basically what it is that, it has all the tools attached to it. So if you have a repair that needs to be made to your bike, you can go fix it right then and there. And there's a pump to pump your tires up if your tires are low. So we've got one now on the campus as well, and a few new bike racks. And we're going to be installing some bike lockers, which I didn't even know existed, but bike lockers in the spring, which you literally roll your bike all the way into, so it can be protected from the elements. And bicycles can be a big investment, and so to just put a lock on them, sometimes people don't feel comfortable if they've got a big investment in that bicycle. So we're going to install some bike lockers and do that. We've done education with our staff. We put on a bike rodeo in partnership with Lincoln College and the Lincoln Park District last May for bike awareness month. So we're doing some work to do that. And then something that's pretty cool for our colleagues, we recently installed a bike share program. And so you can rent, it's not for the public, unfortunately, it's for colleagues only, but they can rent for free a bicycle and, bike on their break, or if they want to use it for commuting to work, they can. So we've been making some improvements that way too, to encourage our colleagues to get out and enjoy a bike ride.
Okay, so all sorts of happenings with Angela Stoltzenburg, the director of the Lincoln Memorial Hospital Health Collaborative. Once again, 217-648-5510, the number to call. Why don't we go ahead and take our first break, and we'll be back with Angie Stoltzenburg right after this. we are back on the Viewpoint. I almost said 4 p.m. 411. It's a little early for that. Our guest, Angela Stoltzenburg from the Lincoln Memorial Hospital Health Collaborative. It is the holiday season, and of course there's a big event coming up out at the hospital, and I know you're involved in that, coming up December 13th, I believe. So you want to tell us what's happening at the hospital?
The Light Up a Life, the annual Light Up a Life event. I don't know how long this event's been going on, to be honest, but I've been at the hospital 10 years. It's definitely been there at least 10 years. It's a long-standing tradition, I think, in the community, the Light Up a Life event and campaign, and it's the biggest campaign that the Lincoln Memorial Foundation has every year, where it gives people an opportunity to recognize either someone who's provided excellent health care, or remember someone who's passed away, or honor someone. And so we have a lot of folks in the community who thankfully choose to do that, and all the proceeds, of course, are they go to the Lincoln Memorial Foundation, and that supports a lot of things in the hospital, from the purchase of medical equipment to our healthcare scholarships, career scholarships, and of course the Community Health Collaborative is part of the foundation as well. So that's happening on December 13th, and it's at 5:30. We've changed our format since COVID, and it's a cold time of year, and so what we've done the last was it 2 years now, or just this last year, because I don't think we had it in 2020. It's now being held in the front of the hospital. Okay. So there's an actual event you can RSVP for if you're somebody who has chosen to give a donation to the Light Up a Life program. And at 5:30 we hold a ceremony in front of the hospital. We have a tree lighting. Okay. And then here's the reason people really want to go is because after the tree lighting, and we sing songs, we sing a couple songs, and there's candle lighting as well. So it's a really touching ceremony service. But then you get soup and cookies, and that's the draw. Because not only do you get the chicken noodle soup that is handmade by the hospital dietary staff, but then you also get the sugar cookies with the this is not something the community health director should be talking about, but the buttercream icing on those cookies.
Really?
Now, talk about a woe food, and that's another conversation that the Catch program that we do with the schools, but we talk about go slow and woe foods with the kids. There are no foods, so with that being said, it's you just want to have more go foods than slow foods, and more slow foods than woe foods, and so that cookie at the Light Up a Life program is absolutely worth having a woe food for. Okay. So you walk away, the way we're going to do it is we have the ceremony in the front of the hospital, we have the lighting of the tree, sing a couple songs, we've got the candle lighting, and then you just take your chicken noodle soup and your cookie to go. Okay. In the past we've kind of gathered inside, but we've moved away from that the last couple years, and so especially with the flu season the way it is, I don't think it's a bad idea to kind of do it that way again this year. So that's happening on December 13th. If anyone's still interested in attending, I'm pretty sure they still have an opportunity to do that, and they can reach out to the director of the Lincoln Memorial Foundation, who's Riley Sloan. I almost said her name before she was married, but you can get a hold of Riley at 217-605-5006 and claim your spot for Light Up a Life next week. Next week already. Yeah. The holidays are upon us. We are in them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We had 'Tis the Season, actually. The Lincoln Memorial Hospital Auxiliary held their 'Tis the Season event on Monday this week. And that's a fun luncheon, and they raise money for their Lifeline program at that every year. But yeah, I just can't believe we're in the throes of all these things already.
Yeah, it is. We'll be here before you know it. So, so you say the buttercream frosting, that's a whoa food?
It is a whoa food.
See, I would think it would maybe be a go food because after all the sugar, you just want to go.
Well,
like
that's what the
Energizer
kids like to
Bunny.
tell me when I go to the schools. Yeah, but that's not exactly how it works.
Okay.
So the Catch program it's a nationwide program. It's in 20,000 plus schools across the country. And as a matter of fact, all schools in Texas, which is where it was kind of developed, are Catch schools. And it's a philosophy that they want to create a healthy school environment. And so you want to make the healthy choice the easy choice in schools. So you try to keep woe foods out of the schools because then the kids don't have to even make the decision.
Right.
You just get them used to eating healthy, whole foods that are less processed and all that, which is really what prompted the work with District 27 a few years back with their cafeteria. And they're still doing amazing things, cooking from scratch and using local food, which, you just want to, the earlier, the better, to really introduce high, like nutrient-dense foods that are whole foods, that aren't processed, that don't have a lot of fat, that don't have a lot of sugar added and salt added and all those things, and get those palates craving those really healthy foods.
Sure.
But yeah, those are the go foods. The go foods are the whole, the whole foods. You think of an apple, that's a go food. You think of broccoli, that's a go food. You think of a donut, lots of calories, lots of fat, lots of sugar, not so many nutrients in that.
Nutrients. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good to know.
That's the woe. But there are no foods. There's no shame. There's no shame in food. It's just about making, making choices to have more of the goes.
Okay. All right. That sounds good.
Yep.
Our guest once again, Angie Stoltzenburg from the Lincoln Memorial Hospital Health Collaborative. If you have questions or comments, 217-648-5510, the number to call. As the director of the Health Collaborative, you've got all sorts of things going on. And as we talked earlier, there are a lot of different agencies you work with and partners that you work with on different programs and initiatives.
Yep.
So how does does the Health Collaborative, are there like certain areas that you kind of focus in on, or that you sort of have priorities, that you make priorities for the organization?
Yep, absolutely. And let me say that there would be no, collaborative is the key word. The hospital, none of us can do anything on our own, right? We all know that. Nobody got anywhere without some help. And so the hospital is absolutely no different. We need the help of the community, obviously, that supports the foundation that helps us do this work outside the walls of the hospital. But we also need all of our partners. Our partners are critical. And when we do that community health needs assessment that I mentioned earlier, we do that every 3 years. We focus on what those priorities are that kind of rise to the top. And then we grab our partners and kind of circle the wagons around, okay, what are we going to do about these particular issues? So right now, the 3 things that we're working on for a 3-year period are substance use prevention, youth mental health, and again, healthy weight. So those are the 3 things that we're really focusing on right now. And we have those, we have coalitions that are focusing on those 3 areas. And, depending on the priority and the coalition and the partners, some of them are a little still getting their feet under them. Like the Healthy Weight Coalition is just new this year. And so we're really diving even further into the data and partnering and leveraging the resources that we have, promoting each other's things and making sure that we're not kind of double dipping, doing the same thing. Right. But we're figuring that out, and we've only had probably 3 meetings, but that's what that one is focusing on, because we really want to do what we can to support healthy weights in Logan County, whether it's access to nutritious foods, doing things like the farmers market. I mean, that's what really prompted the farmers market 7 years ago. We've now had that farmers market for 7 years, going into the 8th season in 2023. Improving access to those foods, also improving opportunities for physical fitness, increasing access to resources for people, because what we recognize when it comes to healthy weights is it's not always as easy as just eat less and move more. There's lots of things going on with people that can show up in a variety of ways, and so we're having those conversations. the Substance Use Prevention Coalition. It's actually chaired by someone out of Chestnut Health System. So again, speaking to those partnerships and how important that is. But we work with them very hand in hand on things like an alcohol prevention campaign for youth and vaping. Trying to get vaping education out there, and unfortunately vaping is so prevalent right now with the younger folks. We're really trying to figure out what are some resources that we can get out into the community to help kids get away from it. It's an addictive, there's nicotine. 99% of the time when you find a vape on the shelf, it says there's no nicotine in it. It's been tested that it does have nicotine in it.
Oh.
So what we know about vaping is that that's not water. It's actually a vapor. It's gases. It's chemicals, and there's little bits of metal in there that kind of come off when it's heated up, and that's what you're breathing in. And we know this is not good for you. Along with tobacco, we know that we don't want people smoking either. Your lungs were meant to breathe air at the end of the day.
Right.
And so, we're having conversations about that, but that's a difficult and very common thing for young folks right now. And of course, they're all not supposed to be under 21 doing that. So we're trying to get some resources out for that. So that's substance use prevention, and we work on harm reduction for any kind of substance use disorder. So harm reduction basically is a fancy way of saying, like, you acknowledge that you have people suffering from substance use disorder in your community, so acknowledge that, and then how can you reduce harm from that? How can you direct people to treatment and recovery, and then how can you, if someone does have an overdose, for example, from an opioid, how can you get them connected with naloxone? The people in the community, we want them to have access to naloxone, which is the overdose reversal drug. Anyone can get that now, and it's free, and it's available. We have it in the courthouse bathrooms as we speak. People can take. It's available for free at the Logan County Department of Public Health. People who are in a situation where they overdose, we want to give them a second chance, and we want people to be able to save their friends and family and loved ones. So that's kind of a harm reduction measure, is getting naloxone out there. Also getting controlled substances like Vicodin and those kinds of opioids, but anything really, getting those kind of drugs out of medicine cabinets when you don't need them anymore. Because we know a lot of times if you're suffering from a substance use disorder, that's where people tend to try to find them in other people's medicine cabinets. So if we can get those out of the community and get some of that access away, that's a good thing. But a lot of people don't know what to do with that stuff. Where do I take my medicine? We don't want them putting it into the water system by flushing it down the toilet. And you want it not usable.
Right.
So we have a program with the health department and the Lincoln Police Department where you can just drop those things off 24 hours a day at the boxes in front of their locations. And then the other coalition that we have, I'm just all over the place because there's just a little bit of everything going on with everybody, but we also have a youth mental health coalition. And that is also new this year, and we're doing that in partnership with the Butterfly Project, which is a project through Children's Home and Aid. And the Butterfly Project provides free counseling to any child 18 or younger who has been exposed to violence of any kind. And so they had a youth mental health coalition that they were starting to build when we had just identified that as one of our priority areas. And so now we have that coalition in effect as well. And so we're kind of diving into some of the local data about youth mental health, and then, what can we do to support the community with that. And there are a few things we've got going on. We, as the Lincoln Memorial Foundation, we provide a grant to Memorial Behavioral Health to provide free counseling in the schools of a lot of the local schools to make it easier for kids to access counseling. And there's just a lot of different things going on there.
Yeah, sounds like it. So one thing I'm struck by is that maybe I don't know, 20 years ago, I think, if there was going to be a focus on a particular issue or whatever, I think maybe sort of the old school approach would be, well, let's, maybe do a public service announcement about it, and let's send out a press release about it, and people will find out. But it sounds like, obviously, you've got a whole lot more going on than just sending out a press release or a public service announcement with all your partners and different initiatives happening. So are the programs today, or how effective are they, or do you have a way to measure that yet in terms of
no, we definitely have measures of success that we like to call them, that we attach to all the initiatives that we do. And that's part of so we put together what's called a community health implementation plan, and we put that together for the hospital. Now, when the Affordable Care Act came out, there was a requirement for not-for-profit hospitals to put back into to do this community health needs assessment that we talked about, identify what the issues were, but then put back into the community the money that they save basically for being a not-for-profit into the community to address health issues. So I think that was a really great thing because, it kind of policy, when you have health in a policy, that's when, you kind of force the issue and make things happen. So like I said, luckily in Logan County, we were really ahead of the game long before that. But that's what we do, and we create this community health implementation plan to say, okay, we've identified these are the issues. What is Lincoln Memorial Hospital going to do to address those issues? We put it in this plan, and then we attach measurements to all of those things. We're doing the same thing now in Logan County on a bigger scale because we're taking that same concept, and we have a Logan County community health implementation plan. And that's some of the things that we look at that Community Health Collaborative Network, and what the coalitions look at when we're picking what strategies are we going to do, and then how are we going to measure them and know whether or not they're being effective. Because if they aren't being effective, as they say in the business, you want to fail fast. You want to find out right away, this isn't working. Let's put our efforts and our resources into something else.
Okay. So we've talked about it earlier on the show, but as director of the Community Health Collaborative, all sorts of community partners and agencies and different things, and they'll all be getting together tomorrow for your quarterly meeting, 8:30 at the Oasis, I believe you said?
8:30 at the Oasis, and if all we've talked about, and you're not just curious and you want to come and see what the heck are we up to, here's another reason to come tomorrow: Guest House. We're going to have Guest House coffee, and we're going to have some light breakfast items from Guest House tomorrow as well. So 8:30 in the morning. Yeah, there'll be some goes there. We'll have fruit. I mean, it is a community health meeting. But yeah, I would encourage anyone to come out, even if you just want to hear what it is what we're up to. If you have some ideas, by all means. These coalitions, whether it's youth mental health is an area of interest for you or a passion, substance use prevention, or healthy weight and eating and being physically active, any of those things are interesting to you, we hope you come out. But remember that even though those are the three things that we're working on as a priority, and those are the three coalitions that we actually have a breastfeeding coalition too. Even though we have those coalitions, the definition is a lot broader than that. We are there to support all the things that contribute to health.
Right, and if you have a preconceived notion of maybe what the meeting is going to be like, it's not just you getting up and giving a PowerPoint presentation for an hour and a half. As you mentioned, it's going around all the different agencies and the folks who are there talking about services they offer, maybe new programs and initiatives. So it really is collaborative, not only in the efforts, but also the presentation as far as the information that's shared.
Yep. And if you come, don't feel like you have to talk either, because some people don't want to give a they don't want to give an update, or they're just there representing themselves, or maybe they're there to represent their church or gather information. They don't necessarily have to say anything. You can take a pass when we do that part of it. It should be not an intimidating environment at all. Okay.
And once again, our guest is Angie Stoltzenburg with the Lincoln Memorial Hospital Health Collaborative. Got a few more minutes here if you have questions or comments. 217-648-5510. Gosh, we've covered a whole lot.
We have. I do have, just thinking about youth mental health, One thing I would like to share with everybody listening is that if you do have an interest in youth mental health, or even actually all the topics we've talked about, I would encourage you to look at the Illinois Youth Survey for Logan County, because we're using that a lot to prompt our work right now. The Illinois Youth Survey is done every 2 years. It's taken in the school, it's self-reported by the students, and it asks them questions about how active are they, how many fruits and vegetables are they eating, but it's also asking them about substance use. It's asking them about their perception in the community, if they think they would get caught if they use substances, if they feel like the community approves or disapproves of certain substances. We're tracking trends of what's being used more, what's being used less, how they're getting access to the substances. And then it also is asking questions about depression and anxiety, and whether or not any kind of mental health issues like that are affecting their participation in activities. So I think if you know a young person, I think it's important for us to keep our finger on the pulse of what's it like to be a young person in Logan County right now. The last survey was done last year, and so the results are out there right now for the seniors that just graduated last year across Logan County, along with the, it's 8th, 10th, and 12th grade. So you're looking at the classes right now that are 9th, 11th, and then the kids that just graduated. But it's recent data. We have the ability to go back, quite a few years and see kind of how things are trending. And I think that it's really easy to find. If you just Google Logan County Illinois Youth Survey, you can look at those results.
Okay.
And I think the average parent would probably like to know what kind of environment their kids are dealing with. Mm-hmm. And on that note, what I would say is that what it all comes back to when we do substance use prevention work is that we know if parents make their expectations known to kids, statistically, it does have an impact on children's behavior. So if you have a concern, you've got to have those conversations with your kids, and you've got to let them know where you stand on it, where your values are, what you expect them, what choices you expect them to do, what their responsibilities are, what they can expect from you in terms of consequences, or just what your values are, what you want, because we can talk till we're blue in the face about vaping to young folks, and there's a lot of factors at play. And what we know is that if we can encourage the parents to be, and the caregivers at all, just anyone in the children's lives, really, when those desires are made known to them, those expectations are out there, that's what impacts the choices that they make.
All right. And I believe at the last meeting, which was at the Park District, I think you had some representatives from Chestnut that shared a few of those statistics at the last meeting, and it was pretty eye-opening. So, and so once again, how do people find that information?
Well, I'm just going to go with the generic response of just Google Illinois Youth Survey Logan County, because that's the easiest way to find it.
Okay. Yeah. If it's online, it's on Google. So,
true.
Once again, our guest has been Angie Stoltzenburg with the Lincoln Memorial Hospital Health Collaborative. Just got about a minute left. You want to give us the information once again about the upcoming Light Up a Life event? Yep.
We've got Light Up a Life coming up for the Lincoln Memorial Foundation on Tuesday, December 13th at 5:30. If you want to make a donation to honor someone or remember someone or recognize healthcare, I would call 217-605-5006 for more information. And then I'd also remind you that we have a Community Health Collaborative Network meeting tomorrow morning at 8:30 at the Oasis, and encourage anyone to come out to that.
All right, very good. So, see, that didn't take long.
Yeah.
You had plenty to talk about. So, our guest has been Angie Stoltzenburg on Viewpoint. Once again, thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you on Viewpoint next week.
The preceding program is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com.